Good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? It is Saturday, and we are back on United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, with a match reaction as United finally pick up a W. Feels like it's been a while since we picked up one of those in a competitive match, but we do manage to get all 3 points at home heading into this international break. Now, we don't make it easy, do we? I'm just going to tell myself that we stepped off the gas in the second half just to kind of make it exciting for the fans, right? Give the people like their money's worth, take them on this cathartic emotional roller coaster. That's what I'm going to tell myself, right? What's the old saying though, right? Better lucky than good. Isn't that what the old saying is? And lucky we were. I mean, I put the poll in the chat. You guys could let me know how you feel. Obviously, you saw in the thumbnail a little bit how I feel. I do think we got extremely lucky there. Twice, United allowed Burnley back into that match, but we did manage to come away with all 3 points, and that's all that matters, right? So, to our credit, I thought we were very excellent in the first half. I'm not 100% happy, but I'll take it. And it did, unfortunately, come at a price. Matthias Cunha went off with what looked like, I'm assuming, some sort of a hamstring issue, which, of course, the amorim out will somehow try to blame on amorim, like they blamed everything on Ten Hag. It's too much training, not enough training. I don't know, whatever you want to say. There's too much purple in the training kit. I don't know what to tell you. He was walking fine after the match on the way to the coach, just leaving the players' tunnel. So it looks like no boot, no crutches. It looked like he was fine, but who knows? But today we're going to talk all that. We got a little bit of transfer talk to go over. We're going to talk the match, the performances. I want to break down. Obviously, I've got my 3 thoughts. I want to hear your 3 thoughts. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, check those memberships. There is a link pinned to the chat for the UVE store if you guys want to go celebrate Mbeumo's goal in the Premier League by going to get an Mboum shirt. The link will take you to the store. Go check them out. Tons of new designs. So we're going to get stuck in. Let me check and see what everyone's saying in the chat. Let's see who's joining me today. Arkan, welcome back. Good to see you again. So pumped after that end of the game. The thin line between joy and despair. It's very poetic, but I don't think I could have put that any better. Yes, there is a very thin line. Seems like in life, especially in sport, right? Especially in football, there is a thin line. You see it all the time. Managers make decisions. They go with certain formations. They go with certain starting 11s, certain tactics. And if it works, you're a genius. If it doesn't, you need to get sacked, right? We see it all the time. There is such a thin line, but that's why we love it, right? That's why we love sport. That's why we love football. That's why we love the Premier League. We love there is that element of up and down, back and forth. I'm still frustrated. I would love if we just didn't make it so hard on ourselves, but you're absolutely right. Welcome back, Arkham. Danny B in the house. Yes, hit that like button. He says, couldn't kill a game off if their lives depended on it. Yeah, we do not make it easy, like, at all. It's like we try. It's like you have to try to make it that hard. I mean, Grimsby was pretty much a new low for a lot of us. It's embarrassing. It really is. Rob, always United. Welcome back. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Our game says, don't tell yourself these things or else what separates us from the Arsenal fans? Well, what separates us from the Arsenal fans is a brain. I mean, there's that. So that's the first distinction I'm going to go with between Arsenal fans. Maybe a lack of just delusion is another one. Every single year these Arsenal fans go through the same thing. It's always their year. They're always winning. And then just at the end of the season, it's always, well, we're at this such and such stage in the process. Give him time. He needs time. And this were United. Arteta had been sacked 3 years ago. So, but big up. Adrian C says, Mount was cooking. Dude, Mount was cooking. I'm a little bummed that he got taken off. It does look like felt a little bit of cramp or something because he was absolutely cooking, man. Like I've said, if Mount can stay fit, he is a huge asset for us. He can play almost anywhere in that midfield, in the 10, in one of those 6 roles. And if you'll notice, what we saw today especially is a lot of interchange between these players. Even when like Kobe came on second half, he and Bruno were interchanging. One of them would go forward, and Bruno was really a 10 at that point. And that's what Amorim wants. He wants players who can kind of play multiple roles in various situations, whether that's 10s being wingbacks, whether that's 10s dropping 6, whether that's 10s also being able to play 9 if needed stuff. It's very, really good. But he did play well. I'm very, very happy that Mount is doing well. I hope that this injury is not a big deal. Hope it's just a precaution, just a little bit of cramp or whatever, but we will see what happens. Big up, Sanjay. How are you doing, man? Big up. um, Sanjay's glad we won. I'm glad we won too, you guys. I'm very glad. I'm not happy overall, but I'm glad that we won. So I think the fans deserve that. I'd argue that the players maybe didn't deserve it, but everybody's got an opinion. See what helps on. What did you guys make of the pre-match presser? So obviously it was radio silence from United for like 24 hours following the Grimsby thing, and then the pre-match presser came out, and everybody seemed to want to make a big deal out of this. But at kickoff, the commentators, the pundits that were making such a huge. It's funny too because they were only reporting half of what Amorim was saying. You guys remember from the pre-match presser, it was sometimes I want to quit, sometimes I want to stay here 20 years, sometimes I love my players, sometimes I hate my players. But the commentator team only wanted to say, well, he said before, in the pre-match presser, sometimes he hates his players, sometimes he wants to quit. Like you're intentionally leaving out the entirety of like the whole other half of what he was saying. Like that to me right there that should be against the law almost. And now if it was printed in paper, I would have more of rage about it. But because it's just a commentator being an anti-United piece of shit, it's a little different. But like intentionally just reporting only half of what someone says like that, or just like reciting it, is just, it's so transparently like biased. It's not even like funny. You just have to, like, it's just ridiculous, man. But what did you guys make of Amorim's comments going into this one? That sometimes he hates his team, sometimes he loves his team. Did you get what he's saying? I mean, I get what he's saying. It's like you can say that about friends, you can say that about your spouse sometimes. Sometimes I like you, sometimes I don't. I always love you, kind of a thing. I get what he's saying. I think it is a little bit. I think people are making a little too much out of it because that's what they do at United. But what I did post on Twitter after this pre-match presser was like, I get what you're saying, and I totally agree with it. But kind of like some of the other things that Amorim said since he took over, like we all agree with it. We all understand. We probably all would feel the same way, but you probably shouldn't just say it in a presser. You should just keep that behind closed doors. Like I think that it's just not a good look, especially right now, contextually speaking, with everything going on. Like maybe just kind of choose your words. I mean, you could tell like the guys, he's a happy guy. He's got a good personality. I don't think he likes doing the pressers. I really don't think he likes the scrutiny and the pressure and the way that everything he does and says is twisted and taken out of context. I really think that that's starting to get to him a little bit. Clearly, he said he's going to get emotional. It is what it is. But some things just, you don't need to say it. What you guys let me know what you thought here. Sanjay's watching this with Supporters Club in Malta. Big up, man. It's always nice to get linked up with some of the local supporters clubs. You guys know I met like Dylan and like Joel, if you guys remember Joel at the Detroit Red Devils, officially recognized supporters club. They used to meet somewhere in Troy. I don't know where they meet anymore now, but yeah, you can always just the club, if it's an officially recognized supporters club, there'll be a directory at United's website. If you guys are traveling and you want to watch the match, maybe check out the website and see if there's any official supporters clubs nearby that you can go hang out with for the match. It's always a good little thing. Let's see. Arcam says he's very emotional, man, and he's too honest. As a fan, I love it, but the press will have a field day. They need to coach him in media relations. I agree. I try to remind myself, like, English is not this guy's first language, so I think that some things do come off a little differently, maybe between what he means and then how it comes out. And that's not his fault. It is what it is. But, I do think he needs to sometimes just maybe I think everybody could stand to just, before they say something, just kind of say it to themselves in their head and just say, is this going to be a good thing to say? I don't know. But that's fine. Danny didn't even listen to it. Yeah. I almost considered Danny muting it, or at least turning the volume down as soon as the match started. And I think it was on Peacock today, whatever the Peacock commentator team was. Because I was like, I can't listen to this shit the whole time. The guys, I don't know who it was. Somebody I've never heard on commentary before. It sounded a little bit like Jason Cundy, a little bit. It almost sounded like forget his name now, but the guy who does talk sport after the matches. But he did not. You could tell this guy's definitely not a United fan. I don't need him to be a United fan, but every little thing he was like, a situation would come up and there'd be positives, there'd be negatives. He would only focus on like the negative stuff. And then he would completely flip flop. Mount goes down in the box and it's definitely a penalty. It's definitely a penalty. And they show it in replay and he's like, okay, yeah, well, clearly it wasn't. And I'm like, dude, just fucking shut up. just don't talk. I could never be a commentator because it's dumb, dude. Sanji, welcome. Big up with the super chat. Thank you so much. Second time he threatened to leave. I think he is not fully committed to United. This threatening has created uncertainty in players and fans. That's a big shout. It's a big call. I haven't heard him threaten to leave per se. Now, I think there's lots of ways you can interpret some of the stuff he said. I do think he's very frustrated with the players, and I think that all of us were, and I think that everyone's totally entitled to being frustrated after that Grimsby match, especially. I don't like, again, some of the things he says. I don't think that he needs to say a lot of this stuff. Doesn't mean none of it's true and nothing like that, and justified probably, but justified and true behind closed doors, I think. But I haven't heard him threaten. Let me know what you think he said that he's threatened to leave. I think that he said in the past something along the lines of, if I'm not the right guy or something, then he'll walk away. I don't remember exactly. You have to let me know. But it did sound like he was very fed up with the players after that Grimsby Town match. So big up, Sanchi. Thank you for the super chat. Awesome. You're an absolute legend. Rob could not get it on Peacock. Is it regional? I wonder. That's interesting. Sometimes if it's on Peacock, it's also on like NBC or something. Arkham says, I don't think it's a threat because he's not fully committed. If anything, he's too committed and doesn't see the same level from players and boards. How long is his contract as well? I'm going to look up his contract and see how long it's got. So he's got 2.5 years. So it runs until June 2027. So he's got like almost 2 years basically left of his contract. It's not a very long contract. So you're basically managing for your contract these days. But yeah, I don't know. Dodgy stream. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't really tell you a good streaming site, honestly, because I just don't know anymore. But it's a bummer that you couldn't get it on Peacock. You missed out on some excellent commentary though. So Fubo probably a better way to go if you can swing it. I don't know what else is out there. I just have the Peacock, the Paramount, and all the different things. So before we get into the match, obviously transfer news and whatnot. The under-18s played Derby County. And what happened in that match? Oh, nothing much. Besides a J.J. Gabriel hat trick in 27 minutes. Fucking hell. Have I mentioned this kid's 14? He's playing under-18s, and he's got a hat trick in 27 minutes. What an absolute little baller. He's going to be playing for the U21s next season. I could very easily see him in the first team matchday squad in a couple of years, even if he's only still like 16, 17. I think he's that good. I hope he's got a good head on his shoulders, because sometimes these academy players, you think it's going well, and then gotcha, bitch. And then you're stuck sitting here trying to figure out what the hell, Cobby. Like, seriously, sorry. Yeah, I am directly talking about Cobby right now. Yeah, Gabriel hat trick, 27 minutes for the under-18s. The kid is 14 years old, and he's absolutely a little boss. So future looks bright. I like what I see from a lot of these kids. Big up to the women's team as well, too. They beat Hammarby 1-0 in their Champions League qualifying match now. Goal came from Liz Turlin, who's on fire after a hat trick in the previous qualifier as well. So I don't get the Mark Skinner hate personally, but it is what it is. He's got the women's team doing very, really well, even despite having a lot of injuries and losing players year after year. I think that's more of a club thing, the way that we treat the women's team, if anything. We don't give them great facilities. We don't really push and promote them very well. We don't really do as much. Obviously, we kicked them out of their training ground to make room for the guys as we were revamping Carrington. Stuff like that from day one has not been. It's the reason a lot of people are gone, like Stoney, Earps, and people. It's unfortunate, but both of them doing really, really well. Danny, I hope he jumps in on preseason, man. I hope he at least gets some minutes. If we were still in Carabao Cup, man, I would love to have seen some more of these youngsters maybe come in the matchday squad, but that's one less competition that we get to worry about. So if Cobby thought he wasn't getting enough minutes, I mean, that's one whole midweek competition until February, March at the latest that he's not going to be a part of. So, but Cobby's got to earn it. He made a couple sloppy passes today. I don't have a problem with Cobby personally. My biggest issue with Cobby is that if competition for a spot, if you're not prepared to take that competition and fight and work hard, then that's not the mentality that we want at the club. And if that's the case, then you need to go, period. I don't say get him on loan. I say sign him. But It is what it is. I asked you guys in a poll ahead of the match, what would you guys do with Kobe after this latest loan situation came out? And a lot of you guys said to start him just to convince him to stay. So that's your call. That's your call. Y'all let me know. Bexy, welcome. Manu and Xerxes, I'm not sure about. Oops, hold on. Xerxes slowed down the pace so much. Wharton is miles better than Kobe. Yeah, Wharton's probably better than Kobe. He's also older. So, I mean, it makes sense, right? Kobe's just not there yet, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think Kobe is forgetting, too, that he missed 38 matches in 2 years with injury, 3 separate injuries. So I think Kobe needs to maybe check himself a little bit, maybe, give his head a wobble and realize, all right, maybe it's okay to be 19, 20 and not be starting week in, week out for Manchester United. Maybe I just need to keep working hard, but whatever it is, man. Yeah, Danny, I was thinking this earlier too. I almost posted this that we should break the age record for youngest debut in the Prem. What is the youngest? Is it Nwaneri? Is that who was the youngest? I definitely think Gabriel. Gabriel could easily play in one of these 10s, that left side of 10. He drops deep. He's able to pick up the ball under pressure in his own half. He's press resistant. He can create space and he can drive that ball up the pitch. Plus, he's excellent at cutting in onto his right. Obviously, that's pretty much how he's scoring all his goals. But Sachi says, everyone has been overcritical, not because we want Amorim out. We all want him to stay, but read the situation. Grind wins, adapt, change, take risks, show he cares, and not by being honest. Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to have their criteria, right? Their preferences for what kind of characteristics they want in a manager. We went through a lot of that, about a year ago? You guys remember when I did that stream, What Makes a Good Manager? You can go find it in the past videos, but we went through a lot of criteria on what you think, all the different things that managers, the criteria they can tick, like personality / man management, CV, tactics, crisis management. What do you do with injuries and stuff? To try to explore some of that and see what makes a good manager. And so go back and check that out, because everyone's going to have a preference. And I don't think there's a right or wrong. But I think at the end of the day, my only criteria for being a good manager is just to find a way to win. Doesn't matter to me anything else. Find a way to win and make it a sustainable way to win, please. Arkham says, United are top of the league for XG, long balls and crosses, touches in the opposition box, second for shots on target. Yeah, we're on top of the league for XG, but until today, we had 0 goals scored. So we're going to talk about that because I've got thoughts on our lack of clinical finishing. Arkham says, manager's doing his job, players up to speed. Yeah, I put that poll out the other day too. What do you think's been the biggest issue? Is it the system? Is it the players? Is it the lack of priority signings this summer? It was pretty evenly split, not perfectly evenly split. I think it was, a lot of people were still saying it's the system that's the issue, but I think the fact that was as close as it was tells me, again, like I said the other day, the problem is not clear, which means the solution is not going to be easily found as well. So I think that there's a lot to untangle at that one. So let's see. Hold up. This computer is being an absolute dillweed. Let me see. Nwaneri, yeah, that's the one. Big up, Box. Good to see you again, my friend. We just want to get caught up on the chat before I jump into some transfer news here. Hope you're doing well on the Saturday. Lucky, welcome back. Said we deserve to win the game. We had fight, show desire. That's what was needed. I got thoughts on that, but appreciate that, Lucky. Thank you for stopping by again, man. Yes, we do need to score, man. We do need to score, because as Danny says, OG is our top scorer right now. It might come into play when we do our kickabout video on Wednesday, when Dylan and I give our predictions for the season, and then we go through and rate the transfer business that we've done. So be sure to come back for that special edition kickabout. It's going to be really fun little show for everybody. All right, I am caught up. Let's talk some transfer news, you guys. Make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing. For a moment there, it sounded a little bit like United and Real Betis might have finally come to some sort of an understanding regarding one Antony. Sky Sports and The Athletic reported it. Sky Sports put out this one yesterday. United have accepted a bid. The agreement on personal terms now up to Antony. So they reported that the bid was accepted. Laurie Whitwell said that the fee was agreed, £21.5 million, with a further $2.5 million in add-ons. We also had a 50% sell-on clause. So that was cool. It all sounded done and dusted, right? Bish bash boss. Excellent. Good. Get him out of here. Sayonara. Bye con Dios. Have fun. But then Real Betis apparently trying to play some sort of crazy fucking gymnastics in the transfer market, decided to put out an official statement about like what an hour or two after all this, saying that they had withdrawn their offer, saying there is no agreement for Antony. We have withdrawn the offer. We can't afford the fee. Cry me a fucking river. And the amounts that Manchester United must instead pay the player before the transfer. So basically, they couldn't afford the fee after it was reported that they agreed upon it, and they all of a sudden decided that they didn't want to pay whatever wages. Like, you didn't know all this before you guys got this far. It's like this. I find this incredibly hard to believe that they're just ignorant about all this. I think this is absolutely some sort of tactic that they're trying to put, and it's so weird to me that they're putting this so public. When was the last time you saw a club do this? When have you ever seen a club come out and publicly say like, nope, there's no agreement, we can't afford it? The only club I've seen do anything like this has been a Real Betis, and it's been for the last several months regarding the Antony transfer. It's so transparently just weak to watch them do this. They're so public about it. It's so weird. A, did you not know the details? B, why are you making such a public showing of it? That's just weird. Again, I think this is some weird, twisted negotiation tactic. I don't really care. Antony, I never understood why players were like, well, I've got these wages left. Who's going to pay my wages if I go to this club? You don't get it both ways, bro. If you were good enough, you'd still be at United and you'd still be getting those wages. You're not good enough. We don't want you. You can either rot in the resis and collect the wages if that's what you fucking care about, or you can leave and get rid of them. It's really up to you. Do you want to play or do you want to get paid? Because you can't have both. And I'm sick and tired of players doing that. It's so annoying. I never got that. Like, if it just doesn't make sense. What do you guys think about this Antony situation? Should we stick to our guns? Should we just say, fuck it, we don't care? Or should we give in and just get him gone and pay him the rest of the wages or whatever it was and then just let him go? Like, at what point do we stop letting clubs take advantage of us, though? At what point should we just say, sorry, like, this is the price, this is what it is? And I honestly, you guys know I'm a petty little bitch. With how public they've been, I just wouldn't care. I'd be like, sorry, you guys are acting like little fucking like poverty-stricken club out here, and we know how much you've made on sales. You can go fuck yourselves. Like, at what point do we just say that, man? I'm tired of being that club that people just think they could take advantage of it, dude. It's fucking annoying, man. Stupid stuff. Let's see what y'all are saying here. Gloria, welcome back. Amorim, very Ernst person. He was like this in Portugal. Press love him and still miss because of his way of speaking. Yeah. So if you guys remember last spring when we had all those rumors that, not last spring, I guess the spring before, when Ten Hag was rumored to be getting the sack, I did a series of videos focusing on different managers that we'd been linked to, and Amorim was one of them. And one of the things I said, he's actually quite personable. He doesn't like to be super negative. He doesn't like to bash referees and stuff like that. He doesn't do any of that kind of stuff, which I like that, personality wise. So question is he in over his head a little bit? We will see what happens there. Sanchit's not happy with some of the coaches. You know who I'm not fucking happy with is the set piece coach. Whoever's in charge of defending on set pieces they need to get sacked. We already sacked Georgeson when Amorim came in, and that was a set piece coach we hired like in the spring or the summer. Like, just this and that's enough, dude. It's freaking annoying. Sanjay says Kabi's acting entitled. I get that Kabi wants to play. Like I said the other day, he's frustrated. I would be frustrated, but at the end of the day, you've got to just be a little humble, show some self-awareness, and just, hey, I don't know, don't expect to be guaranteed minutes, like you're saying, a little entitled, but it's annoying. Danny doesn't think Betis ever wanted him. Interesting. Box says Saudi was interested in Antony. They should come back in for him, and Antony will be forced to take up that offer now, or he'll be on gardening leave. When does the Saudi transfer window close? I know the Turkish one doesn't close for another couple weeks. Maybe someone like Besiktas or Fenerbahce or something, both of whom need new managers more than they need new players, I guess. And I don't want to hear bring back Josie or bring back Ollie, please. That's a rule we're going to have on this channel now. Galatasaray, maybe, I don't know, but Saudi club, I think, should definitely come back in for Antony. I always forget about Antony because he doesn't really kick up a fuss, but if he wants to get paid, like, bye, see you later. Box says dismiss Betis immediately, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it's not like an angry thing. It's just I can't go to the store and like want to get a bag of bread or a loaf of bread, but don't want to pay what they ask, and then like the store is just going to be like, all right, cool. Like you don't get bread, then what do you? This isn't some market in like some random country. Like that's not the way it works. This isn't a flea market. We don't bargain here. You just is what it is. Sorry. Arkham says it's a bad precedent. We should tell him to stay in the reserves. He'll get his head screwed on correctly in January. Take the first move out. You talking about Antony or Cobby? Um, Rob says we need to grow a pair. Stop bending to the request of these little clubs that are pleading poverty. No one cares when it's United and who come calling for a player and they want to up the price by 1,000%. But all of a sudden, Betis are like, "Oh, please, sir, please, fuck off, fuck off." I agree. Gloria says Amorim makes everything for his players. I think that's where a lot of his frustration comes from. I think he does care about his players. He does want what's best for them. He does try to work with them. He does try to make them better. I mean, that's minimum his job. But then, like the performance we saw against Grisby, you can't help but be disappointed as a manager. You can't help but be frustrated. Like I totally get it. Danny says we should never sack him. Who are you talking about? Are you talking about Ollie? You're talking about Jose. Sachi says, I'm on your channel for the first time. What is your opinion on United should have cashed out on Bruno? When we knew he'd leave in a year, 100 mil would have fixed a lot. 100 mil could have fixed a lot. I don't necessarily think like some fans think and that money just automatically fixes everything because we've seen over the last 12 years that that's not been the case. We've thrown a lot of money at a lot of different players and a lot of different managers, and it hasn't fixed it. And I think that was the problem. In the right hands, that money can do well. But the problem is we can't just buy, we have to build. Now, I've said many times, and it's like it's your first time, so I'll say it again. When it comes to Bruno taking the Saudi offer, I'm happy for him to stay if he does well. I was also very happy to take the money. I don't really do an either or thing. I think that what made me a little more amenable to if he stays, I'm not that like bummed about it, is we'll get a lot of money for him in another year. So I'm not that worried about it. So but we'll see what happens. Again, he's got to perform. The first two matches of the season, he was absolutely our worst player on the pitch. Today, he wasn't that bad. He's created the most chances in the league already this season, just like he's done the last 3-4 seasons as well. So I'm not that. If he performs, it won't look like a bad decision. 100 million could have gone a long way, but who's to know if we would have even gotten somebody else over the line because we took a month to get Mbumo. So, but thank you for stopping by the channel. I appreciate all the new faces. Sanjay says Betis can fuck off, but welcome to the channel, Sanjay. Appreciate that. Box says 100 mil wouldn't have been enough to buy Belabor or Wharton. No, but maybe the 80 we could get from Garnacho and from Hoyland could have sealed the deal. Maybe we could have thrown in Ugarte for somebody. Maybe we could have gotten some of that. Maybe thrown in like Luke Shaw or something as well. You never know. You never know. Now I'm getting creative here. Yeah, I do think it's criminal. That's why I put one of those options on that poll the other day is not getting in priority signings. The fact that Onana's our number one, he's fit and he didn't start today is just like it just tells you everything you need to know, man. Like seriously, it's literally just choosing between like getting kicked in the balls or getting punched in the balls at this point, whether to start buying to your own Nana, man. It's just like it's like we have to gift a goal no matter who starts. It's just ridiculous. Of the two, I think Binder's a little weak, but I don't think he's got as many clangers in him as Onana does. Onana is weak in the same area that Binder is weak, but Onana is also weak in so many other areas too. It's so annoying. Danny does not think Amorim has been backed properly. I don't think that we've got enough priority positions in this summer so far. We have a couple days left, but again, this is where I wanted us to not be, is waiting until, almost September now and getting signings. We should have had this shit done back in early July. It was my one demand going into the transfer window was don't wait so long to do your business. And it's like the one thing we did, and so annoying. Rob says, Cobby has been negotiating for 8 months. Maybe asking for a loan move was a power play. Well, if it's a power play, then it's not going the way he thought it was, because you can't wait to make that play until 3 days left in the window. It's not going to just suddenly force our hand. So I was back and forth on if I wanted him to even feature, because I'm like, we can't cave to a player making those kind of demands. And that's why I was like, if I see him start, I'm going to be a little upset. because we can't do that. We just can't. It sets a precedence, like someone said a little bit. Palace are valuing Wharton at 150 million, dude. Fuck that. He's not worth 150 million. That's ridiculous. I'd pay half that for Adam Wharton. Um, that's just a Ricky. I mean, Bexy, I wish it was that easy to sell players. It's just not, especially when they're shit. When they're shit, it's infinitely harder to sell players. It's just the way it is. Lucky likes Conor Gallagher or Amadou. You talking about Onana? Let me know who that is. Let's see. All right, let's move on and take Antony off the screen because I like that photo. It's a funny photo, but I'm tired of looking at it because it's getting on my nerves. Okay, more transfers. So Romano does report, while we're talking about keepers, that talks have been accelerating up until this weekend between United and Antwerp regarding Senny Lamens. Romano added that Lamens is not training right now with Antwerp, so he's not involved in training. So it does look like there's probably going to be a move incoming for him. Onana dropped for Bindier. I think the writing is on the wall there. I think, honest to God, Lamens comes in. He's got an honest to God shot at being our number one, like immediately. Nobody's rocking the number one shirt, so he could easily come in. The problem is now you got 4 keepers. So either Tom Heaton becomes a coach, or you have to find a buyer for Bindier or Onana, which is just not that easy. So maybe Bindier maybe that was shop window for him today. If so, how do you think he did? We did get out. Here we go though today, and that was a Garnacho, and actually it's official. The club wished Garnacho a farewell. Chelsea announced him as well. He's just doing his thing now, living his best life. We'll see what happens in 6 months if he goes the Sancho route or not. Sure enough, all these Chelsea fans, when he scores a goal, are going to be telling us they signed our best player, because we've heard that before. But then when he doesn't do anything for several months, those same fans are going to go into the woodwork, and either he gets sold for a lot of money and we make a lot more because there's a 10% sell on, or he doesn't do well and they just don't make money, and it looks like we pulled their pants down for 40 million and we still get 10% of the sale. So we'll see how it goes. It's unfortunate that he just had the attitude issues that he had, but Højlund is also in Italy. Don't know if you guys saw the little clip going around. It sounds like the Napoli move is a here we go. For the little clip that I saw, though, him in the airport, he doesn't look too happy. Now, he could have just been, like, tired from travel. I don't know. But the guy didn't smile once from, like, the 45-second clip that I watched. No smile. He doesn't look like this is what he wants to do. But I think that he's just, the way that we got the reports of, like, I just want an obligation. I don't want to have to come back and deal with this again. Sounds like he's just ready to be done. But what is what it is, man. And then youngster Louis Jackson has joined Solihull Moore on loan. So that's the outgoings for a hot second. Baxi says Coffee is slow as a lug. You guys know, I mean, he might be slow. I don't mind slow players necessarily, especially in that role. Because if you can read the game, if you've got good positional awareness, footballing IQ, anticipation, you'll look a lot faster than you are. Busquets is not a fast guy, like one of the slowest players I've ever seen, but he looks like he's literally like moving at twice the speed as everybody else, because his brain is moving at 5 times the speed as everybody else. I'm not comparing Manu to Busquets before anybody clips that up. I'm just saying, to me, speed has never been the top priority for certain positions, even center back. It depends a lot on system and how you want to play as well. And so, but I hear it. He's not the fastest, but he's also, he's a kid. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Box says Manu contract demands and loan demands suggest a diva in the making. I mean, we saw this with Angel Gomez, right? He wanted minutes. He wasn't going to get them, and so he thought he was good enough to go get minutes. Or at least maybe his agent was like, hey, there are clubs out here who will get you minutes. Now, I appreciate that Manu reportedly doesn't want to leave for good. He just wants to play. But I'm like, what happened to just, training hard, working hard, trying to grow, trying to develop, trying to learn, and like giving the manager a decision to make and on the pitch? Now, it's hard because in the system that we play, Manu's not quick and defensive and powerful enough to play next to Bruno, but he's not better than Bruno to start for Bruno. And so you're just going to have to rotate, man. You're just going to have to work on it. And that used to be how it goes. No one's guaranteed anything, and I just don't get that. But Sanchi says, one thing Eric Ten Hag did during January transfer was getting on loan players. Loans aren't bad. I mean, that was the club. I think we got to remember that managers don't really have a whole lot to do with that. Ten Hag might have had a say in the players, but Remember, those were emergencies too. We lost two midfielders to injury, and then Ronaldo did his little temper tantrum with Piers Morgan, who's probably still wiping his chin after that interview. The fat fuck. So we were kind of in a little bit of a pickle, and that whole situation frustrated me because that showed that the Glazers and whoever was in charge back then could do stuff when they needed to, but they don't really tend to move quickly otherwise. It's really annoying. Let's see what y'all are saying. Arkham says, I'll be honest about Cobby. Hasn't shown me any improvement in 2 seasons since his debut. His attitude issues. Yeah, I doubt we're going to get 70, 80. Again, people forget he was injured 38 games in 2 years. Didn't even start playing until November of 23, 24, because he was out with an injury that he got preseason. He's missed a lot of football, and he's still very young. And so I think Cobby just needs to realize maybe it's just a generational thing. Maybe his generation just expects so much so soon. I don't know. I don't like generalizing. I don't like stereotyping. I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility. So Hulk sad. Like, oh boy. Rob says, when are you and Dylan coming over, Sean? We will be there between Christmas and New Year. We're going for Wolves in Newcastle, and then we're going to hop over to catch a Salford match at the stadium when they play Fleetwood. And so we're going to be doing that. It was a shame that there's not more matches at that time, but it's one of those weird times of the year. But yeah, we're heading over Wolves, Newcastle, and Salford. So day after Christmas, we'll be there that Saturday, heading out that Wednesday. So yeah, anybody who's living in the Manchester area or is going over to these matches and you guys want to link up and get a drink, Dylan and I will be there for a couple days. So hit me up. You guys know the community tab is right there. You can always do that. But we'll be there in December. Football Freak, what up? Welcome to the channel. Carrick wasn't quick, but still one of the best ever. Yeah, Carrick was an absolute Rolls Royce in midfield. His autobiography, I have it behind me, is very, very good as well. I love Michael Carrick. We haven't had a player like that in a while. Adam Wharton's probably the closest I've seen to that kind of role. Maybe a little bit of Stiller as well, but I see a little more silk in Stiller than I saw in Carrick. And that's not an insult. Some players just don't have the silk, and that's not anything bad. But Baxi says Hoyland was a better option. Xerxes just coming back from injury. We'll give him a little bit of time. I thought he looked good personally. He's not fast, but that's fine. But he's coming back from injury, so I'm not going to go too hard on him for that. So Football Freak says, just let you know I'm Andreas. Interesting. All right, well, welcome back. I appreciate you letting me know that. So everybody changes their names out. We've had a couple people do that, and sometimes I don't know that, so it's hard to keep up. But thank you for reminding. I'll try to remember. Arkham says, I think the club has offered Manu 75K, same as Garnacho was on. He's refused. He's holding out for 125K. I don't even know if he's actually asking for 180K. I thought that was just stuff from Chris Wheeler because I didn't know where he would get that from. If he's asking for that much, then he's got to go because he hasn't done anything to deserve that. For real, though. That's just dumb. Gloria says, Cobby is an arrogant kid that played in Euro because England did not have many good midfielders. Interesting. I would hope that, when you get a call up, you earn the call up, and he did well to his credit when he played. So we can't deny him that. But if he's really, demanding a lot of this stuff, then yeah, there is a bit of entitlement there and arrogance there. But I mean, it is frustrating. Cobby's probably one of the last youngsters I would have thought to do any of that kind of stuff. So we'll see what comes out in the wash. These are all still just reports and things. Obviously, we don't know the whole story, but I'm trying to give Cobby the benefit of a doubt, but he's really frustrating me if he's not willing to take a little bit of challenge and fight for a spot in the team. So let's see. Bexy, I hope, man, we've needed a keeper since the summer started, and really we needed a keeper for the last 2 years, if we're being honest. And we definitely need midfielders. It's starting to feel again. You remember when we went all those years after Carrick retired, and even before that, where we just didn't bring in like a competent defensive midfielder. We'd brought in some people like Schweinsteiger and whatnot, and then Schneiderlin and things like that. We just kind of neglected that position for so long. We brought in a lot of wingers and whatnot, and it's been clear for a while that we've needed that. We don't really seem to do well with signing those midfielders, unfortunately. Bexy says, the fact that Manu put in a loan request now isn't a good sign. I mean, he must want minutes, but I just don't get the whole not wanting to fight for a spot and not wanting to take the fact that you're a youngster who's missed nearly 40 matches due injury in the last 2 seasons. Like, maybe you're not going to start. Like, that's just the way it is. Gotta get a drink. Bach says, I'm not getting too excited about JJ Gabriel. He's already tried to leave once already. RGAM says, can you make a logical guess from Wilcox and Barada perspective? Clearly the midfield isn't working. Why haven't they prioritized? I don't know why they didn't prioritize it. Sometimes it doesn't look like we're moving quickly, kind of like the whole Mbumo thing, maybe because we're relaxed about it because the player has agreed personal terms, they want to come. I would have liked to have seen these signings done early so they could get clicked and synced in with the teammates. As we're seeing, like Mbumo, Shesko, they're not quite fully synced up yet, and that's because they haven't been here as long. And so that's why I couldn't tell you what. I mean, it's no one's going to put all their cards out there on the table. It's not like we're going to know any strategies behind the scenes. Amorim said recently, like, he tells them, what he's looking for and stuff. They have meetings all the time. So you got to think we're working on stuff. Supposedly we did make an offer for Baleba. We'll see what happens. I'd like to get a midfielder in. I just don't know who's going to leave this late in the window, unfortunately, because what clubs are looking to get rid of players that are good enough to come to United right now, good enough for us to look at without being able to replace them. I just don't see it happening. So it might be a January thing if we're lucky, but it might be a next summer thing too. But I do think that we definitely need a midfielder. I've said it many times. Casemiro, he did fine. It's a little slow still. I like Mount. We'll see what happens if he can stay fit. Ugarte, not quite good enough. Mainu, very, very young. And Bruno, not a 6. So we need midfielders, unfortunately. Danny's been waving the midfield flag for a while. We've gone through so many scouting reports and analysis on midfielders in this channel when it comes. I did a video just last week on Bruno replacements when it comes time to replace Bruno. So you guys can go watch that video as well. A lot of midfielders who play in a deeper role, who have good ball progression, who also aren't afraid to get stuck in either. Go check out that video if you want to see some of the ones that are on my mind. All right, let's talk this match because it's been 40 minutes and we haven't even talked about the match other than to complain about how lucky we got. You guys, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. What are you guys saying here about the win? I'm going to check in. 62% of you say we deserved it. 38% of you say it was lucky. I think I'm right there in between somewhere. So, yeah, Rob, we definitely do need 2 midfielders, brother. I just don't see how realistic that's going to be this summer with literally 2 days left to go. So, you never know. I've gotten birthday presents on deadline day, signings in the past. We'll see what happens. So we'll see. So Bayindir starting today. Interesting. Shesko on the bench again. I thought Dorgu on the bench was very interesting because he looked so good. Hopefully it's just we're not going to push him. I don't know. We'll see. Didn't get any minutes. Xerxes on the bench obviously came off. Mazraoui on the bench was probably the biggest eye raiser for me because we didn't know what was going on. He came on, I thought looked really decent for not having played in a while, so I liked that. And then today, obviously, no striker, so Cunha was actually starting off in that central position. Mount was kind of in that left hand and Mbumo on the right-hand side. So, again, fluid, interchange, versatile. That's what Amorim is looking for with these players, no matter where you are on the pitch. And so I think people who think that he doesn't know his best position for some of these players need to remember that these players are also expected to be playing in multiple positions as well. And so try to remember that as well before we get too harsh on there. Bexy says Casemiro has experience, which is his biggest strength, but he's past it for the Premier League. Yeah, and that's what I said. I said the same thing about Varane too, and even Johnny Evans. Like their reading of the situation, their positioning, their just awareness, like you're saying, is excellent. It's what you need. But again, it's just a shame when your body can't keep up with your mind. I go through it all the time. I'm 39 now. I've been, kicking around with like Justin and whatnot for years. I'm getting slow. My body can't do the things that my mind wants to do sometimes now. It's just part of it. It catches up to all of us at some point, unfortunately. I wish it didn't, but it does. What in the hell? Computer. Why? Ugh. Arkham says, Sean, you should have a player. You know what? I haven't really ever done them. It's just Arkham, and I get it. I know some people like it. And if you guys want to, at some point, we could start maybe looking at. It's just never been something that I've ever really been that interested in personally. And so maybe that sounds a little selfish. I don't know. It's just never. It's like when people do combined starting 11s. I don't really get into it. And most of the time, like especially this last season, like when we lose and stuff, I just don't. I just don't really want to do a player rating stuff because I just don't want to. So like we usually like the 2 summers ago we did a season award show. If you guys were here for that, didn't do that this past summer because no, I didn't think anybody deserved it. I didn't really want to. It was not a summer for celebrating anything, and so. But I hear you, man. I hear you. Dorgu needed a rest. Yeah, I thought might. I mean, it seems weird that you need a rest just a couple matches in, but I mean, I guess it is what it is. But it's just a bummer because he's looked so good since the start of the season. Sanchi, the newest member of the United versus Everybody community. Appreciate that, my friend. Thank you for getting involved in the member. Absolute legend. Now memberships do get you a lot of perks, man. So keep that in mind. Hopefully you looked at some of the perks when you're looking in there. You know, you got the starting 11, you've got the academy, you've got the legends members. Now legends members do get to join in on the weekly Kickabout show with Dylan. So you get to join in virtually if you want to and give your thoughts on some of the topics that we're going through. Starting 11 members, they get to suggest ideas for scouting reports for players. They get to suggest for what if episodes. You guys keep a lookout for the next episode of What If as well, coming to you during the international break. So the memberships, I tried to make them cool for you. They're more than just emojis and badges. So appreciate that, Sanchi. Legend. Good to see a new face getting involved right off the bat, dude. Awesome. Appreciate your input today. Box things as wingback roles are up for grabs. Interesting. I do think we could improve on the right-hand side, but I'm just still not. You guys know how I feel about Dallo. He's not my cup of tea, but everybody's got a different opinion. Bexy says Barada looked pretty angry late on, which may be a positive sign. I mean, maybe that was Amorim starting Bindier over Onana, even though Onana's fit. Maybe that's him pulling a Thomas Tuchel. Remember when Thomas Tuchel was at PSG and he wanted defenders and got midfielders, so he started a midfielder in defense. I wouldn't mind that from a manager now and then, but I feel like they'd get sacked. So it is what it is. Yeah, João Neves had a couple of goals today. Doing really, really well. So let me see here. Box does not think Dorgu's been that great. I mean, I think he's definitely looked levels better than what he did last year. And we kind of all said that we were going to see what would happen because he came in January, got suspended for like 4 games because he got a red. Took him to preseason, and he's been one of our better players, in my opinion, to start the season. He looks lively. He's up and down the pitch. He's creating chances. I really think Dorgu has come on leaps and bounds. I'm not saying that he's the finished article by any means. The guy's, 2021 still, but I think he has looked good with a preseason under his belt. Arkham says, Dallo did one good thing today, the assist. After 2 years, and the rest of the game was still crap. Nothing on the ball going forward. Poor tackling. Yeah, Dallo, I have 2 issues with Dallo. His final ball is garbage, never improved, and he does not get tight enough to the opponent on the ball. And we've conceded so many goals because he doesn't close down the ball. Gives these opponents 5 yards of space to do whatever they want. And it's really, we've conceded a lot of goals because of Dallo. And I'm not trying to just have a hate fest on Dallo, but he needs to go to a different league. He needs to go back to Italy, go to Spain, do something, go play for Simeone or something. I don't know. Overall, looking at the stats here, the stats will tell you that we were better, but the 2 halves were quite different. We had nearly 3 times the XG, 26 shots to Burnley 6, which honestly, 26 shots in this match was more than we had in a single match all last season. So there are improvements, but again, only 6 top shots on target compared to 3. So Burnley had half of their shots were on target, and literally ours, there's the math, 1/6 of our shots were on target. Not a good look. Again, like I said earlier, we lead the league with touches in the box, but we are struggling for goals. XG Philosophy posted on Twitter that until Mbumo's goal today, we've scored 0 of our own from an XG of nearly 6. We had 5.75 XG before today. No goal scored. Like, it's not a good look right now. You have to think that maybe it'll start clicking, but I'm very frustrated we didn't get Cunha and Šeško in earlier in the summer because we're still seeing Mbumo earlier in the summer because we're seeing Cunha looks lively because he's been here since June. And Mbumo's just today is looking better and better. Šeško's starting to click. That could have happened 2 months ago almost, and we could not be worrying about this. that's the reason you have to get your business done early, because this is it. And this is why I'm like, Ineos can't sack a manager when they wait this long to do the business, because how can you? You're not giving him the tools. And that's why I'd be like, it would be unfair. But I'm very happy with Mbumo today. 9 touches in the box, 5 chances created. He's only behind Bruno and Ahmad so far with that in the league. 4 out of 5 crosses, 3 passes into the final third, and he got himself a goal. And he's taking these corners. What do you guys make of Mbumo taking these corners over Bruno? By the way, I've never liked Bruno's set piece delivery other than the free kicks. I think his corners are garbage. But what do you guys think of that? Bruno getting on the end of these things instead of taking them. What do you guys say here? Danny says the first goal today was on Dallo. Yeah, I don't know what was going on for that goal. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but like, just 6s and 7s, man. It's like playing Arsenal, just all this movement, and we have no idea who to pick up and who to leave for our teammate. It's annoying. Robs does not rate Dallo either. Interesting. Bexy says Ugarte's fall off is also a concern. The guy looks shot of confidence, which is a shame. It is a shame. I just don't know if there's room in this system for a player whose only really big asset is his mentality and his legs, really. Because I'd say he's good at winning the ball back, but he gives away a lot of fouls unnecessarily, and he's a bit sloppy. He's not really great when it comes to ball possession. There are times where he'll pop up in the box when we kind of cycle possession and we work it higher up the pitch, and he does a little bit of link-up play, but that's very few and far between. He's got to be more of an all-around midfielder than just, I'm just going to run around and tackle people, because there's no room for that anymore. We just can't hang with that. So, Teresa, welcome back. Hi, everyone. Apart from Binder and Dallo, the rest were the same squad that messed up on Wednesday. They had to redeem themselves. They could have scored for fun today. Yeah, it definitely should have been. We should have had at least 3 goals going into that second half. Like, some of the shit that we were fluffing was just, Ahmad's probably my biggest complaint. I thought he took his hit one shot very, very well. I think it was off a set piece. It's just, the problem was just, we knew this going into it. Burnley make themselves difficult to break down. They sit in the low block. They look to counter. And when we take so long to move the ball up the pitch, we don't make the decision quickly enough. All we're trying to do is shoot through a bunch of bodies, and it's usually not going to come off when we do that. But welcome back, Teresa. Good to see you again. Let me see what y'all are saying here. Box says Cunha hasn't scored in about 10 games, including preseason. He'll get there. He will get there. Remember, he's one of these 10s, and until Shesko comes in, he's been kind of in there. Today, if you watch Cunha, everything was going through Cunha. He was a conduit. He was picking out people. He was dropping deep. He was almost like a creator in that role today, as opposed to, I'm just going to shoot in short. So I don't mind his attitude. I think his attitude is really, really good, is what we need. But yeah, he's not finding the back of that. But nobody really finds the back of the net until recently. So he's in bad company, really. Rob prefers Mbeumo on the corners. Interesting. Bexy says Mbeumo looks great, especially after he missed the pen at Grimsby. That's the mindset we need. Yeah, and that's why you do it. I know people were worried a little bit about Bruno taking the pen after he missed that one the other day, but leaders, people with good mentality, you let them do that, because it's not about being a leader. Having good mentality is not about being able to do this stuff. It's not about ability. It's about mentality. It's about how do you respond if you fail? Having the strength of character to carry that pressure and to carry that responsibility and to do it again, even if you messed up the first time. That's the difference. Michael Jordan, Tony Hawk, all they talk about is how many times they've missed. Michael Jordan, literally, he says like 26, 27 times I've failed to make the game-winning shot and we lost because of me, but I still take that shot, because that's the kind of mindset that he has. If you guys are all up on the Mbeumo train, go check out the Mboom shirt in the UVE store. Let's see here. Sanchi says Mbeumo will have a better United career than Cunha. Mbeumo reminds me a little bit of Rooney. 42. All right, big up. Yeah, Rooney in his prime was a different animal altogether. You talk about mentality. Rooney was about as mental as it gets in all the best ways possible, man. Bexy says Ahmad played all right today. I don't think he's world class, if anything. Miles. Yeah, he's better. He's definitely better when he's allowed to just kind of attack, because he doesn't really offer much in defense. Because he's not a right back, so I get it. He doesn't really hold the line very well. He doesn't really put a lot of pressure on the ball. He's not a right back, which is fine. Maybe that means he'll be better in a 10, but he could be versatile. I think, again, it's going to depend on the opposition. There are going to be games where Ahmad's maybe just not the best fit, and we play some like Dallo there, or Mejraoui even. There are other games where maybe we're going to have more of the ball, and the other team is going to be harder to break down. So we want to have Ahmad on the pitch, and we just won't rely on him too much for defending. It's all going to depend on the opposition, I think. What y'all saying here? All right, I'm caught up. I am caught up. Hold on, I'm not caught up. Teresa says, what's strange is that the squad players are experiencing the results of Amorim's system and they're still doing things their own way. The squad are not all in yet. Hope. Yeah, and that's why I put down like the polls, and it bugs me when people say the system. I think that there are parts of the system that might work, might not. I don't think we'll know yet for sure until there's some time and we have better players. If it's a system thing, though, if it's honest to God system thing, then that's on Ineos because they knew what they were buying. If it's not the system, then it's the players, and the players need to fix up or fuck off, as the old adage goes. Rob Always United, absolute legend, gifting 5 memberships today. You guys rock. We're getting a lot of really good interaction today. Big up, Rob. Always coming in with the legends. Everybody's getting a membership. Awesome. I love it. I love to see the community growing. Love to see everybody getting involved. Big up, man. Legend. Wow. Sanchi, dude, you're like rocking it today, man. First time here, you're dropping a membership and you're dropping a super chat. Sensitive question. Don't you think we should change our captaincy? If yes, then who? You guys let Sanchi know who you might give the armband to, if not Bruno. Let's just say hypothetically Bruno wasn't here. Let's say Bruno left tomorrow and went to the Saudi League. Who would get the captaincy? If you ask me right now, I'd probably give it to De Ligt. I think he is a captain. He is a leader. He captained Ajax as a teenager. I think he's excellent as just a player. I think he's an excellent as captain. Probably has to go to De Ligt, right? That's probably who I would give it to. Who would you guys give the captaincy to? Update on injuries. So far, nothing. Nothing that I've read. I know some people are posting like, Amorim gives an update. It's not really an update. It's just saying, well, we don't know for sure. You're not going to know anything this soon. All I can say is that Cunha was walking on his own without crutches, without a boot after the match. So we'll see what happens there. Mount looks like a little discomfort and maybe he was a little more precautionary. Now, I think the report was that he was already feeling something for the first 30 minutes or something. So we'll see. But I hope it's not a recurrence of Mount's injuries because I need him to stay fit. He's so good. But big up, Sanchi, for your gift. Awesome, you guys. Box says, De Ligt isn't even considered worthy to be part of the 6-man leadership group. Well, he's only also been here for a year, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I'd definitely give it to De Ligt. As Danny says, maybe Licha, but jury's still out on Licha's long-term fitness, unfortunately. If Licha can come back and stay fit through the rest of the season, then he's definitely in there with a shout. He's got the mentality for sure. But I like both. I do. Arkham says, Cooney looked like a quad strain not long out. Luckily, he won't go to Brazil now. Yeah, I don't have a problem with players coming down with something ahead of the international break. You guys know I don't like international breaks at all. Sanchi thinks it goes back to Harry. We asked that question. Did we get an answer who our vice captain was? I wanted to see what happened with that. Do we even have a vice captain? Let me see. Vice captain. So we don't have a vice captain. So we have a leadership group apparently. I thought that was just like nothing. So it's a leadership group. Interesting. All right. So no vice captain. We've got 6 vice captains. That's like a romantic comedy where there's no best man and there's 5 best men. That's really ridiculous. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know, Box. I don't know why one gets in and one doesn't. Really couldn't tell you, man. Maybe because Mezraoui's older. Maybe it's most of those guys in there are old, so maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it's an age thing. Couldn't tell you, but we'll see. If De Ligt can stay fit, though, he definitely gets my vote. So, moving on. You guys know I've got my 3 thoughts. Get your 3 thoughts in. You guys, that's what we do. I always go through the 3 thoughts. So make sure that you get those in as we go along because I've got my own. Starting with number 1, and I'll say it again, I think we did get lucky. Now, some will point to the first half and say the result was deserved, but it's a game of 2 halves, and we stepped off the gas and allowed Burnley back into it in that second half. We totally stepped off the gas a little bit, went back down to gear, and we allowed them back in. And I'm really, got to remove that from the scene. I'm really frustrated that we did that because we could have had several more goals. All the energy and quality we saw in the first half completely dissipated in the second half, especially at the start. We came back into it. We got very lucky, but again, it started to feel a little bit like Grimsby, a little too late. I don't want to put that on any single player. It's not. I don't think it's a single player's fault. I do. Taking off Mount definitely made a difference, despite the injury. He looked really good. I hope the injury is not bad. The late penalty that we got from Ahmad going down in the box, getting his shirt pulled, that was a gift. I didn't think that was. It was very soft. It looked like he went down a little easily, but I'm going to take it. We really didn't deserve it looking at our performance in the second half, and I think Amorim will probably feel the same. But well done to Bruno for burying his pen. A lot of people would have taken him off, but I think, again, that's why he takes them. I think the fact that we're the first team in history of the Premier League, I believe, where our first 2 goals of the season are from own goals should probably illustrate just how lucky we got, just how fortunate we were to come out at 3 points. I didn't think we were getting 3 points. I was very frustrated most of the time watching that second half for sure. First half, I was totally fine. Thought we looked good, but the second half, I was getting more and more and more frustrated, and it was really getting on my nerves. Arkham says, look at it as it is. We didn't get unlucky like in the first 2 games. Yeah, we weren't too hard done by. The ref announcing things to the stadium is a little interesting. I do think the Mount thing, I don't think that was a pen. I think that was just 2 players just wrestling with each other, and that's what it is. Obviously, I thought Ahmad was soft. He did look like he was going down, but it is what it is. But we definitely got lucky. It was a bit of a gift, and it was a bit of a let-off. I don't think it should paper over any cracks. I don't think it means that everything's fine at all. There are still issues. I think that fitness throughout a match, mentality, focus throughout a match, resilience during a full 90 still needs work as well, because what happened at halftime, couldn't tell you. I don't want to think it was just down to changing some of the players, but it's hard to ignore the juxtaposition of those 2 things. So Sanchi says, Bruno was holding that ball under his arm like it was his baby. He's the penalty taker. It is what it is, man. That's his job. He's the one who takes the pens. Now, he has gifted those to other players in the past, like Rashford, for instance. When Rashford needed a goal, he was in a bit of a drought. And Bruno, being the leader he is, knew that could do a lot, not only for Rashford, but because it could do a lot for Rashford, it could have done a lot for the rest of the team. So that's part of it, and that's what leaders do. Fox says, I think Antony continuing to pull Ahmad for like 3 seconds contributed. Yeah, he pulled him. I do think that when Ahmad went to ground, I think that he saw that he wasn't getting there, and he kind of went to ground. In my opinion, a little early. Is it probably a penalty? Yeah, probably. Obviously, it was awarded. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to be all negative about it and stuff, but that's why I said we were lucky. I think it was very lucky. It could have, to me, watching when the ref, I think it could have easily gone either way, is what I'm saying. And so, lucky that it went our way. So we'll see. Arkham says Shesko looked better today. His presence unlocked crosses, movement in the app. Shesko's good in the box. It's nice to have someone tall who's willing to get on the end of something. It needs to click though, because it's really unfortunate that Mbeumo is getting some goals and now we're going into a break for a couple weeks. It's really annoying, but you guys let me know your thoughts, because my second point, which you probably already saw a little hint of, can't buy a goal right now. Literally cannot buy a goal. 26 shots, 6 on target, 19 inside the box, 39 touches inside the box total. We've got to be more clinical. Burnley, looking at the momentum, Burnley capitalized on the few chances they had. When you look at the spikes in momentum, they've usually lead to goals for Burnley, even that last-ditch effort later on. But, look at all the momentum, according to FootMob, that we had, and look at how few goals we have to show for it. We're not taking advantage of sustained possession, of sustained pressure, of an attacking threat, of chances created, of touches in the box. All these chances there. We missed loads of sitters today. Bruno's from that corner in the second half was a big miss opportunity. Ahmad's in the first half on that counterattack was probably the most damning miss of all. Bro, why are you leaning back, bro? That's the first rule of Fight Club. You don't lean back when you're shooting, especially when the ball's got a little bit of a bounce. Mbeumo probably could have laid that off a little bit easier, put it on the ground a little bit, but again, you don't lean back. Now, naturally, and you'd see this, if you play it, naturally when you're trying to position a shot, when you're trying to place it with precision, For some reason we always lean back. It's like we do one of these. We're like, and we try to lean back and praise, and that's what's happening. He's trying to cushion that back across the face of goal. Keeper's coming one way, but he just leans back. And when you lean back, it's going in. It's going into Rosette. It's just the way it is. Maybe it hit Hoyland's plane or something. I couldn't tell you, but you can't do that. But clearly, you see, we're not making the most of the possession and the chances that we get, and Burnley did. They've literally scored with had half their shots on target, and we only had like a sixth of ours. It's not good look. To Burnley's credit, they were defending for their lives, basically, and Dubravka basically stood on his head to keep a couple of those shots out, and just keepers love to just show up against us apparently, but. I did think we looked good, sustained possession around their box, loads of chances. Mbuma took his well, but we need to be more clinical. We need to move the ball quicker so that opponents can't just get back into their shape and just block everything we put in. Like, we have to stop doing. We have to get that ball forward quicker. And I don't mean just hoof it. I mean, get it wide, get it forward. A lot of the chances we create, especially like last season, like against that Newcastle match that we lost, get the ball wide, get it forward, and we create opportunity. I think we scored from a similar chance. As the game went on, I worried so much that these missed chances could come back to bite us, and they did. Like, sure enough, they did. Absolutely. What are you guys saying here? I want to get caught up here. Bach says, Kyle Walker marching over to the VAR screen trying to influence the ref. Kyle Walker. I forgot that guy went to. You know who I forgot was at Burnley too is Hannibal. I completely forgot that he was there. So interesting to see him in and around at Old Trafford again. I wonder what kind of reception he got. Bexy says Shesko will be a baller if he gets service after a couple goals. He will fly. Well, we need him to. It's not fair that they came in late, but it's just one of those things, especially United, especially right now with the way things are. We need him to find form. We can't be patient. I know he's young, and I know he's not like world class. He's not the finished article, but we have to get him on the score sheet. He's got to break that duck at some point. So, Arkham says Xerxes misses pretty bad too. Should have hit the target. Yeah, and I think that's just like some of these players like Xerxes coming back from injuries, so you'd expect it. It's just one of those things. It's like a perfect storm of new signings coming in late, not quite linking up. Some of them may not be fit. We've got guys like Xerxes coming back in from long injuries. The starting 11's not really the same all the time, and so it's just hard to get everything clicking all at once. Now, Amorim needs to figure out his best players soon and just play them in the best positions instead of tinkering like he did last season. So, like it says, Amorim got injured players. Yeah, not Mizraoui, Licha, Sexy, Sesko, but we're not playing until next games. Yeah, we need these guys to just chill and not hurt themselves. But again, the whole time I'm watching that match, looking at all these missed chances, you can't help but think that it's going to come and bite us in the back or bite us in the ass. And sure enough, it absolutely nearly did. I don't know why the hell 3 center backs, 5 defenders really in some of these situations can't for the life of them deal with ball put in the box. I don't understand. Nobody jumps. Nobody goes and attacks that. Nobody's putting pressure on the ball carrier. Whether it's a set piece or a cross from open play, for some reason, we can't deal with it. And it's not necessarily an Amorim thing. Yes, he's got a responsibility to figure out how to stop the problem, but it's been a problem for years. We saw it as far back as under Ollie. Remember RB Leipzig doing us like that in the Champions League. Like, what is it with this club and nobody like being able to defend it? We can't clear our browser history, let alone a ball put into the box. Like, it's fucking annoying. Both goals that Burnley scored were from balls into the box. Nobody deals with it. And again, has a lot to do with how easily they're able to just put that ball wherever they want to in the box. Like, why was no one marking Larson? Where was Shaw? Where was Dallo? Why is he just there 10 yards unmarked? And then we're like, oh, shit. And then he just picks out the ball. And it comes in behind. No one deals with it once again. And sure enough, they're picking it up out of the back of the net. Over and over again, no pressure on the ball, too many crosses, no one tries to get them, literally no one jumps. Same old story for that set-piece goal as well. It's absolute dog shit defending, man. I'm telling you right now. I can't stand watching. That's the kind of shit that, yes, we won, but that's the kind of shit that'll make me pissed off. Maybe it's because I'm watching it too much from an analytical point of view or something and not watching it as much from like a fan point of view, but it's hard for me to get. Maybe it's like a coach, and maybe that's how Amorim feels because you can tell he's not too happy about this shit. But I wouldn't be either. It'd be maybe that would make me a good coach or not. Like where I'm not celebrating so much the goals, but I'm remembering all the shit that needs to get corrected. Maybe that's something for me to work out. Maybe I need to just enjoy the moment a little bit. Bexy says, if United signed Wharton, what do you think would change? I mean, we have an actual like wholesale like quality Premier League 6 in there. Now he's not like this destroyer thing. He's definitely going to be. It would be different because you don't know where he's going to start because he's not a destroyer, so he's not going to start next to Bruno. But is he going to start over Bruno? Probably not. And so would that mean Bruno gets pushed forward? With Cunha out, we're probably going to need to put a 10 in there with Mount perhaps out, or the 10's up for grabs. Maybe we put Bruno back up there. Maybe we'll put Cobby back up there. But Morton would be in the pivot. It's just a matter of who plays next to him. Big up, Kai. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Box says, international break come at the right time. Players need to fine tune. Well, hopefully a lot of them decide to get sick and they stay home and they hit the training pitch. That's to me is, I don't like having an international break this early in the season. It's absolute dog shit. How are you supposed to get anything built when you're three matches into the season? You're just like, all right, fuck off. And maybe they don't come back injured. We'll see. Who knows? Like, come on, man. This is ridiculous, dude. Boxes. First time this season we've had a soft phase. Yeah, it's freaking annoying, man, watching these assholes try to defend balls in the box. It's ridiculous. Box says, would I prefer a back four with a midfield three? I wish I had a simple. It's not as simple because I can't just say that because I'm looking at the players we have and I just don't know if that's going to work. And then I can't say that because Amorim is not going to do that. But it probably would suit the players a little better. But at the same time, it's the same players that we complain about. And so why should we suit it? Why should we change? Why should we like pander to what they need? They need to show us it like way more to even start to be considered. Like, why should we have to accommodate them? Like, you're not even doing enough on the pitch at the moment. So trying to think who we have. We just don't have. I'd prefer a 3-5-2 if I had to change anything because I just want more bodies if we can't get better players. But I don't think we have enough. I don't think we have anybody who can play that lone six adequately, in my opinion, unfortunately. Casemiro, I don't know if he's got the speed. Ugarte's got the speed, but I just don't trust him in there because he's played there at PSG, but he hasn't exactly done like stellar when he's done it. And so I don't know if we just have the players for it. And that's kind of how I have to filter my answer, if that makes sense. But Arkham says, we never pick up the runner. It's a midfield responsibility, historically bad at this. Larson, you had Dallow and Shaw basically ball watching, both of whom were just sucked too centrally. And this is the same thing that Fredrickson did against Grimsby. Did not mark that runner at the back stick and got caught basically standing right next to Harry Maguire, marking one player between the two of them. Nobody paying attention to anything. And sure enough, we concede. Same exact shit, different day, man. Teresa says, to stop the mistakes, they have to start doing what they're supposed to do. Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Do what you're supposed to do, and we won't make as many mistakes. I mean, I don't know why the players can't just do what they're supposed to do. I don't know why players who are 30 years old, Premier League, like Champions League winners, some of them make the same mistakes that kids make. It's really annoying. That's why I said it's not just the system when people complain about that. Some of the factors that matter is that these players either have shit footballing IQ, shit fitness, they have shit resilience, lack of mentality, whatever you want to fill that blank with. There's too much of it in the squad. And I think that the new signings that we've had under Ineos have shown a difference other than like Ugarte, who's just maybe not quite good enough. Everyone else has been good, in my opinion. So I think we're seeing a shift in that. Box says, Lamans wasn't picked for international duty. Hopefully he can arrive by deadline day. Well, he's not training with Antwerp anymore either, and I don't think he's playing. So I think he's definitely going. I think that bridge is burnt from that side things. But whether or not he comes United is anyone's guess. We've got a couple days left. I'd love to see us get a midfielder as well. I just don't think that that's going to happen, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Maybe we can go get Josh Brownhill. He's a free agent, right? Go get him and just let him fill in. But hey, look at that. We're 9th in the table. Top half of the table, you guys. When's the last time we saw that? Fucking hell. And hey, we're only 3 points off of first place too. So 21's coming, guys. Come on. 21's coming. Um, did you see the standing ovation too that Amorim got as he walked down the tunnel? Like, don't listen to the media's nonsense when they say that the fans are turning on him and shit. Because yeah, he's on thin ice. Yeah, he's got a lot to prove, but the fans aren't turning on him. The fans support him. They back him. They clapped him out of the stadium. He's fine. Good to see Mizraoui and Xerxes get back in the mix. Like I said, Bruno is already leading the league in chance creation, so just like he has pretty much every season. We'll be on the lookout probably tomorrow, Monday, for an update on Cunha and Mount. Hopefully, it's not anything serious. I would like to see a goalkeeper and a center midfielder in before deadline day, so fingers crossed on that for sure. Let me see what you got here, you guys. Teresa says shit IQ, in my opinion. Yeah, a lot of these players just don't have good footballing IQ. They just don't. They just can't read situations. You see this a lot with, counterattacking players and stuff. They just don't know how to read the situation. They don't know anticipation. They don't know positioning. Like Toby Collier, when he's played, has shown so much better positioning than some of these guys that are like 10 years older than him. And it's annoying, man. Bach says, was it Whitwell or Ornstein who talked about alone? I haven't seen anybody talk about alone. Interesting. Agile, welcome back. 3 points off the top. We're 3 points off the top, Agile. 21's coming, man. Yeah, it's been a minute since we saw the top half of the table, since we're no longer looking up the ladder, right? I'm telling you, Box, 21 is coming. I sound like Adam McCullough, right? Doesn't he say that pretty much every year? Agile says we should have won all 3 games. Yeah, we definitely should have won Arsenal. I don't think that we deserved anything from Fulham, honestly. We were shit against Fulham, in my opinion. Definitely don't deserve anything against Grimsby. We were shit against Grimsby. This one, the first half, for sure, we were better. We definitely let Burnley back into the game and step off the gas in the second half. We definitely got lucky, in my opinion. I just don't know why we can't sustain it for a full match. But Arsenal, we definitely should have gotten more. We have to put away our chances, though. We were the better side. But hopefully this international break doesn't throw off the groove too much. Hopefully we get Cunha and Mount back fit. Hopefully it's not anything serious. We will, of course, be watching the deadline day transfers to see if we get anybody in. Hopefully we get Lamens in. I hope he starts right away. Give him 2 weeks. 2 weeks of training during the international break for a keeper should be plenty. Should be plenty enough time for him to get up to speed. Give him that number 1 shirt. Give him the keys to the training ground and tell him to start pulling pranks on Onana and Bindier to get him out of here. But you guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. If you weren't able to catch the live, please leave a comment. You guys know I'll check those comments. Like and subscribe. Thank you to Sanchi for becoming a member and for your super chat. Thank you for Rob for gifting those memberships as well. Appreciate you guys for just getting involved and keeping the community just strong and lively. Love to see everybody get involved. Love to see the community grow. Don't forget to come by Wednesday, special edition Kickabout. Dylan and I will be doing this, rating the transfer window, giving our predictions for the season, and pretty much just talking all sorts of United stuff. So it's usually a pretty chill show, the Kickabout. Keep a lookout, too, for another scouting report special during the international break, another episode of What If. And I'm going to put a poll for a video because I have one put together, but I don't know if I want to. I don't know how you guys would feel about it. So I'm going to put a poll up and I'll let you guys decide. So keep a lookout in the community tab for the polls as well. Check out the UVE store. Tons of designs on there. There's a link pinged in the chat. So go check that out as well. Teresa says, some fans and pundits haven't realized that Amorim is cloning United supporting. If he wins games, I don't care what he clones. I just want him to win games. I don't really care. So, but thank you guys for joining me. See, we got a win, so that's good. Let's see what you guys say. Was it lucky or was it deserved? I'm ending the poll. 61% of you say it was deserved, so I'm going to go with that. I'll say we deserved it. You guys decided it. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and of course, if there's any breaking news, we will be back to talk about that as well. But until next time, you guys, take care, enjoy your Saturday, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.